I don't care if this is old news. I have to talk about it because it combines so many of my interests. Recently, during an episode of Jeopardy! All three players were stumped by a seemingly easy question about the Lord's Prayer. The category was dadjectives, in which all clues involved descriptions of fathers. And the $200 clue, typically the easiest in the category, was as follows. Matthew chapter 6 verse 9 says, "Our Father which art in heaven, this be thy name." If you've ever said or had to say the Lord's Prayer, the answer was simple. Hallowed. None of the players knew it, including the champion who was riding a 5-game winning streak.
Matthew 6:9 says, "Our Father which art in heaven, this be thy name. Hallowed be thy name."
And then the round just continued. 2 other clues in the same category also stumped all 3 players. This hallowed clue was, in terms of the game itself, a non-factor. That is, until everyone on the internet decided it was absurd for 3 supposedly smart people to miss a clue they collectively knew. And by everyone, of course, I am referring to a handful of people on Twitter, because every story just cited like the same 4 tweets. News outlets ran with this non-story, all about how fans of the show were aghast and stunned by the outcome. In some ways, it is understandable that people would be surprised by this. The Lord's Prayer is arguably the most famous Christian prayer, and there's a reason it was the lowest valued clue in the category. Even the show's writers expected the contestants would know it. Plus, as a viewer, there's nothing better than realizing you know something that all 3 contestants, all of whom are theoretically very smart and very well read and super nerdy, do not. Even if they weren't raised as Christians, there was an expectation they would know the answer. But what all these articles and Twitter critics seem to ignore is that everyone has their blind spots. What's common knowledge to you may be useless trivia to someone else. In the giant list of things to study before appearing on Jeopardy! I promise you, the specifics of Christianity usually is not at the top of the list, or anywhere on the list. The best example of this phenomenon may have taken place several years ago, when all 3 players missed every single clue in a category about football, which is hilarious.
An option play. Ryan?
Football, 400.
I can tell you guys are big football fans.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. Do you think we should go to commercial? Fair catch. And they are called offsetting penalties. Let's look at the $1,000 clue just for the fun of it.
By the time the last clue was revealed, even host Alex Trebek was needling the players.
If you guys ring in and get this one, I will die.
In the case of the clue involving the Lord's Prayer, I think a lot of the backlash stems from the mistaken assumption that Christianity is the default religion, and everyone, including non-Christians, should know the basics. I don't have any interest in making excuses for the players, but it is worth mentioning that the returning champion was Indian, and it's possible he was not raised in the faith. Another contestant was a graduate student in physics, and it's possible religion didn't play a role in his life growing up either. Or at least that he doesn't spend much time thinking about it because he studies reality for a living. That said, I believe the question was fair. So are the other clues that touch on the beliefs of major faiths. They don't give an edge to religious believers any more than questions about Greek mythology. Christianity is the most popular religion in America, whether you like it or not. That makes it fair game for clues on a show that deals with cultural significance. I have some personal experience on this front. I appeared on an episode where an entire category involved books of the Bible, and my atheism paid off.
Hemant?
What is Revelation?
Yes. Hemant?
What is Acts?
Yes. Hemant?
What is Ruth?
Ruth is right.
It's not just about the Bible either. Even if you've never said the prayer in church, it's fair to argue that well-rounded people would have come across the Lord's Prayer in other ways. Whether it's Kristen Stewart saying it in Snow White and the Huntsman, or Will Ferrell butchering it in The Campaign, or knowing that people in Alcoholics Anonymous say it to end their meetings. There are plenty of other examples where those came from. That's why the clue was neither too Christian nor too religious. Interesting side note. A few years ago, the Pew Research Center published a survey about what Americans knew about religion. They had asked people to answer basic, factual questions about Christianity and other faiths. Like, what do they teach? The bottom line was that most people knew very little, with the average respondent correctly answering only 14.2 questions out of 32. But Jews and atheists knew more, on average, than every other group. Does that mean most people don't know anything about their religion or other ones? Maybe. Or maybe it's just an indication that even intelligent people may not know basic facts about certain topics, especially when they have no need to learn about them. The Freedom from Religion Foundation called the Lord's Prayer Triple Stumper a welcome sign of the secularizing times. I don't buy that. It's just a question, or rather answer, that managed to be in every player's blind spot at the same time. I have no doubt other questions about Christianity would have been answered correctly by any one of them, and that would not be an indication of desecularization either. If you're looking for people who don't know anything about what Jesus said, don't point to these contestants. Point to the white evangelicals who support a cruel con artist as president, or the Catholics who defend a Vatican-based crime syndicate, or the Southern Baptists who insist only men deserve to be heard from the pulpit.